Hello everyone, this is Grace. It is July the 1st, 2022, and we are continuing our second look at the biblical definition of a day. And right now we're just going through some of the terminology for what is meant when it says evening, what is meant when it says today or tomorrow, etc., etc. Because different words were used in order to denote the time of day. But in the Bible, they were all translated as the same 2 or 3 words that we use every day. So by going by the numbers, we're able to see more clearly exactly what's going on. So that's what we're looking at now. And we're going to hone in on 2 to 3 specific definitions in this study. One thing also I want to know is that when I looked at this the first time, I thought that the numbers were unique to like the different gospels. What I found is that there are several words. I didn't include all of the words in this study, but there are several words for morning and day and etc., that are used like 1 or 2 times, just a few times throughout the Gospels. And so I thought that they were distinct, but they're all really fluid throughout all 4 Gospels. There were very little changes. No, there weren't any changes. They're all the same throughout the Gospels. So anyway, I thought I would point that out because I made a mistake in the last one. And yeah, they're all exactly the same. It's used the same. Let's go ahead and get started. In this study, we're going to be looking at the feeding of the 5,000 in order to hone in on the meaning of this of 3798 and 3796 specifically. Let me go ahead and give you the definitions for those. Let's get our cheat sheet out here. And let's look at the definitions for those 2 words. Okay, so 3796, we'll just pull up 3798 and we'll look at the definition together, and then we'll look at 3796 as well. So 3798 means late. As a noun, it means afternoon, early evening, or nightfall. It can also be used in the evening time. So afternoon would be, late in the afternoon would be from 12 to 3. And then late in the evening would be from 6 to 9. And it stems from this word right here, which means exactly the opposite. It means the idea of backwardness. I have that definition for you. We'll look it up in a moment. Late in the day, by extension, after the close of the day, at even in the end. But that's not what backwards means. Late in the day, by late in the day, what they mean is that the morning starts and it grows closer to noon. So this would mean from 9 to 12. That's what this word would mean. And in the evening, it would mean from 3 to 6. The close of the day, but it's not after the close of the day. No, I didn't even notice that was there. But after the close of the day, late in the day, even in the end. It's at the end of the 2 definitions for morning. In the morning, from 9 to 12. In the evening, from 3 to 6. So let's look up one more, because it says from the same as 3694. So 3694 has the word enclitic of direction to the back. That is a back. The reason why I wanted to take you here is because I want to give you the definition for this word, because it kind of threw a little bit of light on my understanding of 3796. 3796. But let's look at the definition here for backwardness first. Backwardness. Oh, I didn't put the dictionary I got it out of, sorry. Lack of normal development of intellectual capacities, retardation, mental retardation, slowness, subnormality, the state of having made less progress than normal, the backwardness of rural areas. And then enclitic linguistics, a word pronounced with so little emphasis that it is shortened and forms part of the preceding words. For example, int and can't. Compare with whatever that is. Okay, so let's go back up to the definition. So you have 3796, which means the end of daylight or midday. So 10 a.m. to noon, also from 3 to 6 p.m. It can be used in either one. The end of early morning before dark. Early evening before dark. Well, I just put before dark there because I was thinking of dark at 6, but that's not actually correct. It goes on that 12 o'clock time frame for morning in the Bible. Means afternoon or early evening after dark. Okay, so this, like I said, is the opposite of this. It's from 12 to 3, from noon till 3, and then from 6 till 9, because it goes afterwards. Now, the way that I came to understand this after finally investigating the definitions enough was because that word here, was a slang word. That word here, this was a slang word. It was, even their slang words, thank goodness, have correct etymology. So when the word became a slang and they tried to translate it, they just translated everything as evening. Because here it's like the eve of the end of the day. And then you get here to 3798. It's translated as evening. Everything is about the evening. So everything got translated as evening. But when you look at 3796, it's not really even, this isn't even really a word. This came from 3694, which was a hyphenated word. It was 2 words put together that meant toward the back of. And then by the time you get to this, you have a slang word, Old New Testament style. Anyway, that took some while to figure out. But let's go ahead and we'll look at the definitions first. We'll look at the words first so you can see for yourself that it doesn't work. Maybe not. I don't want to jump ahead. Let's read through this first, and then we'll go through and we'll look at it, because the word, and compare them to what we've read. So let's go ahead and get started. And when it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, "This is a desert place, and the time is now past. Send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves some victuals." So it was getting late. 3798, we're not going to use the wrong meaning. I'll never get through this and keep my sanity if I try to use the wrong words. So we're changing this to 3796. There would be no need for this 1096 here if it was just 3798. But this is 3796. Before the noon hour. And before that, before 9 is what this is saying. And when it was this is mid-morning, I'm sorry. I just applied 9 to noon to mid-morning. But what it's saying is when it was before mid-morning or around mid-morning, it would be better. His disciple came to him saying, "This is a desert place, and the time is now past. Send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves victuals." Don't worry, though. I'm going to show you at the end for yourself that it doesn't really work any other way. It'll work when you read individual scriptures, but if you try to put it together into a logical story, there's problems. It doesn't fit. But individually, you can always you can always find a way to exchange them. That's why it was so problematic, because reading them individually, they both have the noonday and the evening day in common. Let's continue on. And they say unto him, we have here but 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And so he fed the 5,000, and they that had eaten were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship. So after everyone ate, Jesus told his disciple to get into a ship, and to go before him unto the other side while he sent the multitude away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, now we have 3796. Evening was come. That means it's almost noon, because the evening was complete. Midday was almost complete. You see? Before it was almost near. Here it's almost complete. Still, you have this 1096 you have to consider. It's like a quarter past, half past. It changes the meaning of the time. Even if I miss it, you want to consider it. I just missed it, that's all. So when evening was come, he was there alone, almost noon. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the 4th watch of the night, Jesus went into them, walking on the sea. The 4th watch of the night. Remember, we discussed this in the previous video. There's 4 watches for the evening and 4 watches for excuse me. So there's 4 watches in the evening, and then 4 watches for the morning. So this is the 4th watch of the night. So the 3rd watch, the first watch is gonna, well, it's the same either way. It's the same either way. 12 to 3 or midnight till 3. 3 to 6. 6 to 9. And the 4th watch will be 9 until noon. So in the 4th watch of the night, 9 till noon, Jesus went unto them walking on the sea. And we know it's almost noon because that's what it says up here, if you translate this correctly. So let's look at the next one, and we're going to have to skip a few because I think I highlighted all of these. Okay, and let's look at the same story in John. There is a lad here which hath 5 barley loaves and 2 small fish, but what are they among so many? And Jesus said, make the men sit down. Now there was much grass in the place, so the men sat down and numbered about 5,000. And of course they go on and they feed the 5,000. And when even was now come, his disciples went down to the sea, and entered into the ship, and went over the sea toward Capernaum. And it was now dark. This word dark doesn't mean dark. We'll come back to it in a moment. And Jesus was not come to them. And the sea arose by reason of a great wind. And so when they had rowed about 25 or 30 furlongs, they see Jesus walking on the sea, and drawing nigh unto them, unto the ship, and they were afraid. So let's look at this wind first. We know that even was now come. We know what that means. But this wind here, that means but right there. But when is an added word here. When is an added word here. When is an added word here. When is an added word. It's an added word. This means but. When. All of these times it's an added word, but it actually gives you the word for this verse. So let's take a look at that. From which how, that is in that manner, as, that's the, yeah, let's look it up just to make sure. Let's just do the New Testament and see how it's used. So, yeah, as. Okay, so as evening was coming, as we know this is midday, and this to come means that it was almost noon. So as it was approaching noon, basically, is what it's saying, his disciples went down unto the sea. So they were on, I don't know why I have this went down highlighted. Let's see what it means. Okay, well, that's when they went down to the sea. I don't think I need to highlight that. But before noon, they went down to the sea and entered into a ship and went over the sea toward Capernaum. And it was now dark. This word dark, it does not mean dark. I'm going to have to look that word up for you. Just a moment. Okay, let's look this up. It means dimness, obscurity, literally or figuratively dark or darkness. But it's not dark, it's obscure. This is the word, what it means, what it was, the meaning it was trying to convey. This is the word that they used to translate. They used dark to translate what was supposed to mean obscurity. Dimness or obscurity. Let's look, I looked up obscurity. Let's take a look at what that really means. Obscurity is the state of being known by only a few people. For the lucky few, there's the chance of being plucked from obscurity and thrown into the glamorous world of modeling. Obscurity is the quality of being difficult to understand, and obscurity is something that is difficult to understand. How can that be? asked Hunt, irritated by the obscurity of Henry's reply. Let me tell you what's going on here. In the noon hour, there's about 2 hours. There's about a 2 hour time frame. If you live in the Midwest, it's from 11 to 1. Where it's difficult to discern. Well, it varies, of course, as you go through the year, especially when you have standard time and stuff like that. But generally speaking, you're going to reach high noon from 11, between the hours of 11 and 1 here in the Midwest. But it's kind of hard to discern from sight. It's kind of hard to discern from sight if it's high noon. That's what's going on there. That's what it's meant by obscurity. It means it was difficult to discern for certain because of the subtle differences between 11 and 1 or 12 and 2. That 2 hour time frame, and they used to have it spread out to 4 hours, I think. I think they narrowed it down to about 2 hours today. But it used to be about 4 hours. Well, if you look up this word, and it may be for all of the words, they discern the time according to the sun. I don't think they were all walking around with watches. We're going to the deep roots of the word, and I'm going to show you that it says to see. This 3700. To gaze with wide open eyes at something remarkable. The roots of time, it comes from viewing the location of the sun. So when it says obscurity, it's not dark. It's not hidden in any kind of way to where dark should be used, actually. It's just that looking at the sun, it's not always easy to discern what time of day it is. And that's what's going on here. It's obscure. It's obscure. It's not hidden. It's just difficult to discern. So, and now it was obscure, and Jesus was not come unto them. If it was dark, and let me point out something else. There was a storm going on at this time. They could have easily pointed out the storm first, and then said it was obscure. There's no mention of the storm as of yet here. It's obscure because of the time. And Jesus was not coming to them. And the sea arose by reason of a great wind that blew. Now they start mentioning that there's a storm coming. So when they had rowed about 25 or 30 furlongs, they see Jesus walking on the sea and drawing nigh unto the ship, and they were afraid. So let's continue, because we've got, I think Luke only has like one example, like 1 or 2 verses. So that'll be easy, but Mark has a couple. Luke. And when the day began to wear away, then came the 12 and said unto him, Send the multitude away, that they may go into the towns and country round about, and lodge, and give victuals, food, for we are here in a desert place. But he said unto them, Give ye them to eat. And they said, We have no more but 5 loaves and 2 fishes, except we should go and buy meat for all this people. For they were about 5,000 men. And he said to his disciples, Make them sit down by 50s in a company. Okay, I think that's it. Everything else is different. So let's continue on. So Mark, let's see how many more scriptures. Oh, we don't have far to go. He said unto them, How many loaves have ye? Go and see. And when they knew, they said 5 and 2 fishes. And he commanded them to make all sit down by companies. And then, of course, he fed them. And straightway he constrained his disciples to get into the ship and go to the other side before unto Bethsaida, while he sent away the people. And when he had sent them away, he departed into the mountain to pray. I think it said something different, but we know there's subtle differences because of the prophecies. But there's no doubt that Bethsaida and the other place are pretty much the same. They're just like Polk County and Chicago or something. I don't know what county Chicago's in. I can't remember, but it's just a different name for the same place. But because of the prophecies, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll want to watch the prophecies in the gospel, because each of the gospels is written to a different time of people. Just like you have the 3rd hour, the 6th hour, the 9th hour, and the 11th hour. Those 4 gospels are written to, each one is written to a different group of people. So anyway, let's continue. While he sent away the people, and when he had sent them away, he departed into the mountain to pray. And when even was come, this is the 3796, was come almost noon. The ship was in the middle of the sea, and he alone on the land. And he saw them towing and rowing, for the wind was contrary unto them. And about the 4th watch of the night he cometh unto them, walking upon the sea. This 4th watch is what is the reason why the 3798 doesn't fit. This about actually hones it down. Respect to, I thought it said before or after. It says through the 4th watch. So it doesn't say before or after. Sometimes it says before or after. This is saying he started in the 4th watch and he went through it, probably out through the 4th watch into the noon hour. So, and about the fourth watch of the night he cometh unto them, walking upon the sea. So, because he started at about the fourth watch, see, 3798 doesn't start until noon. 3796 is the fourth watch. It matches the time. So it's 3796. Plus, there would be no need for this. This 1096 is not needed when they have the even usually. I don't think it's in there when they have this used correctly, because I saw it used correctly, I think, one time. Okay, we have a couple more verses. No, these are all marked still. So I think we can go ahead and look at them really quickly. Oh no, I just put that in there in case we didn't have time before. I forgot to take it out. So let's look at the uses of these words really quickly. 3798 first. When even was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils, and he cast out the spirits with his words, and healed all that were sick. Now, I can't recall if this was... Yes, this was after the Sabbath. So, after the Sabbath, when even was come, if even is 3796, it's the fourth watch. When it was filled, it's right before the noon hour. If it's 3798, now keep in mind that they both have two meanings. It's the fourth watch, which is going to be right before noon, but it can also be used as the close of daytime, of the daylight hours. So it can be from 3 to 6. And the same thing with 3798. It can be used as the afternoon from 12 to 3, but it can also be used as the close of the daylight hours. And I got that from the definition, and I think it may be used like that once or twice. I'm not sure. But, so it can be from 6 to 9. So, after the fourth watch, 3796, when it had come, right before noon, people started showing up, and he started healing them. And when it was evening, his disciples came to him. So here we have the 1096. It's going to change the time. When it was almost evening, his disciples came to him, saying, this is a desert place. We read that. We'll skip that. We'll skip this. He answered and said unto them, when it is evening, ye say, it will be fair weather. We did that. I think we did most of them. I think, you know what, we're going to go ahead and stop this. I know we did most of them. Well, I don't know. Oh, here's one. I don't think we did this one. And at even, when the sun did set, they brought unto him all that were diseased. Okay, this is the same as the first one. Yeah, so we're going to stop here. There wasn't very many uses of it, but it causes a lot of trouble if you don't have the correct understanding. So... but I'll leave it to you. You do your own research, and you come to your own conclusions. That was the only logical conclusion that I could come to. Everything else was fine. Everything else, almost, I can't even remember I can't even recall if there were any other changes. There may have been some minor changes. I can't recall. But that was the big one. That was the big one that gave me the most problems. So everything else was just mistranslations. Just mistranslations of words. So we'll go into those. Hopefully I'll be able to do some more of these videos tomorrow. And so that we can get through this fairly quickly. So I will see you. I'll close out at that, and I will see you in the next video.